Fluff World. The lore. No one's quite sure where this merry band of misfits first came from. Some claim they are a result of decades of animal experimentation gone south. Others believe they're from another planet or dimension. Some even believe they've been on Earth for millions of years and are the direct descendants of ancestors of both Homo sapiens and Lagomorpha. We can't address this now. It's a massive hurdle to separate the myths from the reality. All we know is that after an event known as the Wreck, sometime in the 20th century, there was a great meeting of these fluffy creatures. From far and wide they travelled, mostly through the extensive labyrinth of tunnels they had formed over the centuries, known simply as the underground, to converge at the Great Tree in the largest gathering in the history of their species. There were some with plain-coloured fur, some whose fur was a multicoloured coil, and some which looked like they had been painted by the masters of the art world. Many had evolved vastly different eyes to adapt to their local habitats, and some sported wounds from their long lives as outcasts. While some were loners, most had formed strong communities based on their physical appearance or favourite locations to hang out. The one thing they all had in common is their shared love for music. They simply couldn't live without it. It seemed like every single action they took was done in a rhythmic fashion. Perhaps it helped them communicate deep in the underground. After emerging from the underground and witnessing the horror and destructive nature of man, they decided it was best to work together for the good of their kind. They put aside their differences and formed the Great Fluffle, deciding they would henceforth be known as Fluffs. There are rumours that the Fluff name was once an acronym, although what exactly it stood for has been long forgotten. The Fluffs vowed to work together to leave a positive impact on the world, sometimes literally shaking in an attempt to put out positive vibrations, or good vibes. Despite their best efforts, they failed. Mankind's reckless abandon and endless greed became too much for the Fluffs to handle, so in the late 20th century they went into hibernation again. While the rest of the Fluffle slept, a small number of Fluffs remained awake to help build a better world for their brothers and sisters. One of these was Thumper, a stubborn Fluff who took it upon himself to stand watch over his extended family, lest they be put in danger. Another, an eccentric fellow by the name of Scrooge McFluff, went off into the world and tried his hand at building a business empire. In 2009, a client told him of a new type of digital currency, and realizing its potential to help the Fluffle, he sold all he had and hopped in. More than 10 years later, he started putting his newfound wealth to use and purchased an island hidden from every map known to man. He declared the island would henceforth be known as Fluff World, the one and only safe haven for Fluffs of all kinds. Now in late 2021, when the world needed their good vibes more than ever, Scrooge and Thumper decided it was time to awaken the Fluffle. As the Fluffs woke from their extended slumber, they started to shake off their foggy memories and began to remember much of who they were and the lives they used to live. What's next in store for the Fluffs? Well, that's up to the Fluffs themselves.